Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Therapy by Craft YouTube channel. My name is Eunice. I'm the maker behind Therapy by Craft, which is where I like to talk a lot of yarny things, mostly knitting, mostly socks. But today I only have like 1 or 2 socks to share with you, and the rest are like random things. I have so many blankets, both knitting and crochet. And yeah, it's been almost a month since the last time I've given you a project update. So there's like so many things to talk about. I'm really eager to, jump right in and get started. But real quick, before I do that, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Therapy by Craft. So give me a follow there, or you can subscribe if you haven't already to this channel to stay up to date with all the things that I am up to. I do have some acquisitions and happy mail things to share at the end, but I'll put that at the very, very end in case you're not really interested in those things. Okay, well, let's start first with finished objects. I have 3. One that I bound off like just an hour ago. So let me show you what that is. These are my All Your Eggs in One Basket socks, the Yarnable pair. And I have blockers here so I can put them on here for you. This is a Yarnable colorway. I think it's the, what was it? Is it the July colorway? Yarnable is a yarn subscription service that is dyed by Hypnotic Yarns. And I have the single skein version of the subscription with like no frills. So I only get one thing of yarn. I don't even get the matching, like coordinating color, like the mini. I don't get that. I just get the 100 grams. Oh, it's the August 2025 colorway. Anyway, here it is. I'll put it on a blocker so you can see it too. But I think this is such a great colorway. It's like beautifully pastel-y, and there's hints of blue and pale blue in there that I think just really makes the colorway so beautiful. And I wanted to add a fun pop of color. So I took, I think this is called Royal, and I added a couple of rounds right there at the end, like at the toe. Come on, can you focus, please? Maybe it'll be better if I showed it like this. So right before the start of the toe, I added that little pop of blue. I got the idea from Summer Lee. What pattern did she release recently? It wasn't the most recent pattern bundle that she released, but it was one that was a little bit more recent. It is the True Crew Sock Set by Summer Lee Design. And she had in one of the socks of that set this cute little pop of color up here at the toe with monogrammed, I guess, initials at the cuffs using the duplicate stitch. Obviously, I didn't do that. The only thing I did was add this little pop of color at the toe, but I really like the effect that that has. This is going to be added to my little box of socks for Christmas. This is going to be going to one of my family members, and I think they're really going to like it. So I'm excited to gift these. I don't know how much it weighs because I literally just finished it an hour ago, but I can tell you that I started this pair over a month ago. This makes for pair number 36 for the year. And I started these September 21st, 2025, and I cast it off today, November 23rd. I don't think there's anything else to say about these. Yeah, they're done. And I'm really, really glad that they're done because it took me over a month to knit them, which is not like me usually. So yeah, this was kind of a lingering Christmas whip that I'm glad to be done with. The next sock that I want to share is kind of a finished object, because even though it's one sock, I'm not going to be finishing out the pair. It was a test knit that I did for Katie of a Songbird hand knit, and she generously allowed me to test her her upcoming sock pattern, which is called Light as a Feather. And I really wanted I was like itching to knit a patterned sock that wasn't too difficult, that I could easily memorize, and this just fit the bill. And I was so thankful to be able to test knit it for her. It is super fun. I think it's coming out December 3rd. I think that's right. Early December. But let me show you what the pattern looks like. I made the smallest size. It's an extra small. And I asked her, I was like, what size do you need tested? Just let me know, and then I will be happy to test it for you. And this is the one that she gave me. Her pattern is great because it is written for both fingering and DK weight yarns. It's also written for both cuff down and toe up socks. So essentially you have 4 patterns in one with this beautiful textured pattern that is so easy to memorize. And the only reason I'm not actually making this into a pair and why I'm calling this a finished object is because I tested the size extra small, which was, I believe, 48 stitches. But given my gauge, and even though this fits Sam, it's still a little bit snug getting on. And I just have a feeling she's not going to wear it that much. So what I'm planning to do is to do a 56 stitch size or a small in her pattern and make a pair using that size instead. The pattern also comes with 2 different heels. This is a stockinette heel flap and gusset that you can do, which I've never done before, but it was so cute and it was fun. And then the other option for the heel is a shadow wrap heel. So yeah, it's such a squishy texture. It's so thoughtfully written. I would highly recommend the pattern when it gets out, when it's released in early December. And yeah, so many of the testers in the tester chat were having such a fun time with it. I used a slightly variegated colorway. This is called Talk Birdie to Me by Arcane Fiberworks. But a lot of folks did this in a solid tonal color, and it was beautiful. It is gorgeous. It would be like the perfect toasty like sock to have on your feet during the colder months. So yes, highly recommend these. Oh, this is what the yarn looks like. Caked up. And this is the tag. Oh my gosh, it doesn't want to focus. Wow, that's terrible. There we go. Okay, that's annoying. Okay, anyway, that's the second finished object for you. And then the next 2 are scarves. So I totally jumped on the Stay Toasty scarf craze by Veronica Lindberg, or Kudivakika. I think that's her handle. Kudivakika. Oh, that is so fun to say. Kudivakika. I hope I'm saying it right. But that is her handle. And I made 2 of them, and I have a third one on the needles because it was so addictive. The first one that I knit, it is in this color. I made it in the Knitting for Olive Merino, and I held it double with itself. Oh, it's kind of crinkled because, yeah, I held it double with itself. Oh my gosh, and I love it so much. It is a 9 superwash yarn, and it feels so nice. It feels so nice next to skin. It was a very meditative, easy to memorize knit. When I first opened the pattern after purchasing it, I was a little nervous because there are some charts and she does have some pages with the charts written out. So visually and in terms of content, it looked like a lot. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is not going to be a memorizable knit. I'm going to have to put a lot of thought into this. I am not going to get through this very quickly. But after a little while, I realized that it's very easy to memorize, very, very easy to memorize. I don't have to look at the pattern anymore. After finishing this one, I was able to cast on my second one and finish it fairly quickly. I'm trying to remember what the colorway is for this scarf. I think it's like an evergreen heather or something like that. It's a dark evergreeny color. It almost matches my couch, actually. I think I have a favorite color, and I think it's green. But it feels, again, really nice next to skin. It keeps it nice and warm and toasty. It is a ribbing that is broken up by a little bit of garter. And I actually made the Sophie scarf before when it first got released, I think back in 2022, and when that was like a huge deal. And I did like the Sophie scarf. However, I think I like this more, and I'll tell you why. With the Sophie scarf, I had a hard time remembering when to increase. It increases at a specific rate, and it is written very clearly in the pattern. The Sophie scarf, if you're not aware of it, is a pattern, like a scarflet pattern by Petite Knit. And she's a great pattern writer, and the simplicity and the classic look of a Sophie scarf, I adore it. I still do. And the one that I had made for Sam back in 2022, she actually wears it pretty much daily now. But in terms of the process of knitting the Sophie scarf, I just remember wondering all the time, like, wait, when did I increase? Wait, when was the last time I increased? And do I increase now? Or is it one more row? Where's the right side? Where's the wrong side? Like, it was a little bit tricky for me to remember what I was doing and read my knit. But this was super easy to read. I knew exactly when to increase. I knew exactly what I needed to do. And it was just a lot easier, weirdly, to make this scarf. So I would definitely recommend this scarf. I, in fact, knit another one. I used for this one, so this one I used a fingering weight merino held double. And this one I used a Sorella colorway. This one is a superwash yarn. This one is a superwash yarn. It's her DK base in the color cognac, which is this beautiful burnt orange that I just can't get enough of. It's such a beautiful color. And I'll give you guys some other details in just a second. But I cast this one on, and again, I think I finished it very, very quickly. Just the process of knitting both of these scarves, it was such a pleasure. And I have a third one going also, but yeah. I really, really like it. I really like the scarves. Okay, so some details. Okay. I used a US 4 or 3.5 millimeter needle to knit both of these scarves. There was a modification that I made for this pattern that I just found to be a lot easier. I don't know if you are able to tell here, but I used a different increasing technique for this because the increase that the pattern calls for, I was just having a difficult time with it. Not that the increase itself is difficult. It's like a lifted increase. But the tension was starting to look weird, and I didn't like the feel of that. So what I ended up doing is, instead of doing a lifted increase where it calls for an increase, I did a yarn over, and then the next row I knit through the back loop. And that's how I did the increases, so that there's a little bit more give in that section of the scarf. And I don't think it's noticeable at all. I think it still leaves a very beautiful drape. I think the increases look fine. And in a lot of ways, I feel like that increasing makes the tension similar to the way that the pattern calls you to decrease on the other side of the scarf. So that's the only thing that I did as a modification, and I would recommend it to other folks to do that as well. Okay, this one I used 70 grams in total, and it measures 56 inches from tip to tip. This is a pretty good length, and this is after blocking. I was curious after I made this whether this would grow a bit. Now remember, this is a non-superwash yarn, this is a superwash yarn, so I knew that this was going to grow more, but I was still really curious since I didn't take a pre-block measurement from this scarf. I took a pre-block measurement from this scarf and found that it did in fact grow quite a bit. For this scarf, I used 84 grams of yarn total. Unblocked, it was 49 inches, and blocked, it ended up being 56 inches. So it grew, what is that, like 7 inches in the drape. So good. This one I started October 24th and finished it November 6th. This one, I think I started October 23rd and finished October 24th. I finished it in like a day. Yeah. October 23rd and finished it October 24th. It was so fast. Yeah. And as soon as I bound this off, I immediately cast this one on, and I just had it as a background project as I was working on other things. But again, highly recommended. This is a great quick knit for gifts also. I have another one going right now in my NSYNC bag. I forget who the maker is for this bag, but I saw it at the SoCal Fiber Festival last year, and I had to have it. And so it's a bye bag. And if you know, you know. I was definitely an NSYNC girly, not a Backstreet Boys girly. And I know there was a bit of a rivalry thing happening back in the day. And I am very proud to say that, yeah, NSYNC, they were my guys. Okay, so for this third Stay Toasty scarf, I am using a yarn that I repurposed from a poncho that my mom got me from a store, like a retail store. And it was a knit poncho that I knew I was never really going to wear, but it was super, super soft. And so many years ago, I ripped out the entire poncho because I wanted to use the yarn. And I don't really know what the blend is for this yarn, but I wanted to use it because it was super, super soft. And I just like wound them up into cakes. And I think it's like 3 or 4 strands, but it's this lovely, it's a lovely tan color. And it has like a slight bit of haloing to it. It's just a great neutral. And I decided to make a Stay Toasty scarf with this one. This is where I'm at so far. And I think it'll just make a really lovely, soft scarf. I want to make some for the ladies of my family. I think they would wear it. I think it would be very lovely. It's neutral, so it goes with pretty much anything. And it will keep the people I love nice and toasty. I don't know. Okay, so that's that for the Stay Toasty scarf by Veronica Lindberg. Okay. Next, I think actually, yeah, those are some finished objects. And then my next finished object is one that I've already shared on this channel because I made a whole video about it, but it really wouldn't be a podcast if I didn't talk about it a little bit here because it was such a big FO. And I'm so proud of this blanket. It is, of course, my Cozy Memories blanket. I, again, did a whole video on this where I shared a lot of details, so I won't go too much in depth with it, but I want to show that I did, in fact, finish this blanket. I will link the video for the blanket video here, but I will get up and show you. Look at this massive thing. It's so beautiful, isn't it? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Ta-da! I am so proud of this. I started this in January of 2023, I think. So, or maybe 2024. I know it's been over a year since I've worked on this. It's a DK Coziest Memory Blanket by Kemper Ray. Oh, I started this January 2024. So almost 2 years that I've been working on this blanket. And it is DK weight. I used a US 6 or 4 millimeter needle for this. I did 20 by 20 stitch squares, so 40 stitches that I would cast on or pick up to start my mitered square. And I actually finished this on October 31st. Each square took about 9 grams of yarn. And I did a modification so that there is a selvage edge, like a cleaner edge, just to pick up your stitches for the adjacent squares. So I didn't do what the pattern necessarily called for. I had a modification, which is written in my Ravelry page, by the way, for how I had those clean edges for pickup. And then I also did a modification where I started with center squares and radiated them out instead of starting from one corner and working in rows. My pride and joy of this blanket has to be the border color. It is this beautiful, like lemony color that I added for the border. And it is so stinking cute. I think it's called Squeeze the Day by Yarnable, and it was a summer colorway from 2025. And I knew when I was finishing up this blanket that I either wanted to go neutral, like a gray or a cream, but I thought cream was not fun enough for this blanket. And I wanted something that was really going to highlight this blanket, something that was going to give it like something that the eyes weren't going to get tired of seeing around this blanket, especially since there's so many different colors and yarns that are in here. And so I initially thought maybe I'll go with like a gray or an oatmeal color, but I thought, nah, it doesn't match the vibe. It doesn't match the vibe. So I thought, hey, neon can be a neutral. Why not, right? So when I saw this color, I knew immediately, this is it. This is the one. It absolutely highlights, and I did an I-cord edge, so it's not that much of a highlight. Like, it's not too overpowering for the blanket, but it absolutely gives it just a little more pizzazz, and it is, I think, the best decision that I made with this blanket by far. So if you are going back and forth on whether or not you want to add a little pop of neon, I say go for it, because especially in these colder winter months when it's, I don't know, when like it's dreary outside and I have no sunlight, it feels like this little pop of neon has been giving me a lot of joy. So I would highly recommend it. Okay, and I need to take this off because it's hot. Oh my gosh. Who would have thunk, right? Like, that like warmth here around your neck can like heat your whole body up. Like, my gosh, that was, whew. Okay, so I'm gonna throw this down here. But yeah, if you want to know more about this blanket, I recommend going to my video where I talk more in depth about it. And people have been leaving some lovely comments also on what their experience was in working with a mitered square blanket with this pattern in particular. And yeah, it's just been great. The last thing that I will say is that I used a total of 41 grams for the 3-stitch I-cord border, and then I used a total of 1,325 grams for the entirety of this blanket. It's such a good blanket. It's such a great blanket. And I want to make another one. That is for sure. Oh, another thing that I will say is go to the video about this blanket if you want to know how I did my I-cord. and I do it in a way where, again, it's kind of different from what the pattern calls for. So yeah, go and take a look at that. All right. Now, that actually segues us into the blanket segment of this episode because I have been on a blanket frenzy. I really think it's the cooler weather. I just want to be snuggled up under a blanket, and I just feel so motivated to work on blankets for some reason. That is all I want to do. And that is actually why the only pairs of socks I have to show you are the two that I showed earlier because my hands have just been wanting to work on blankets. So the DK Coziest memory blanket is certainly one that has really stolen my heart. But other than that, I have some granny square blankets that I want to share with you as well. So this is a blanket, it's a fingering weight blanket that I started back in 2023, I believe. Yeah, March 2nd, 2023. I started this blanket and I started it by making a bunch of little squares. I naively thought that one mini set and one 100-gram main color would be sufficient to create a blanket that is the size of my liking. But I was quickly realizing that that is not true. I need to have way more squares and way more of the main color in order to get a size that I like. This is where I'm at so far. Ta-da! At this moment, this blanket is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, I think. Wait, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 12 squares across, and I believe 9 squares long or something like that. And I'm hoping to make it 12 by 20. So I have a long ways to go. But I am so pleased with this blanket. It is so much fun. I am using a 4mm hook, crochet hook, which is a G hook, I believe, for this blanket. And this project has been giving me so much joy. I have these little, oh yeah, I'm using my Canny bag. Is that her name? Tanny Casey? Oh my goodness, this is so awful that I cannot remember her name. I have it right here. Tanny Casey. There it is. I am using one of her beautiful project bags, which is like one of my favorite project bags of all time. It has this vinyl see-through cover right here, and I love it so much. And in here, I am housing lots of little balls of yarn. I'm also putting my row 1 minis into here because I just love these little pops of color. And each little square is a 5 round granny square. And it only takes up about 3.5 grams of yarn. So if it's a 4-ply, it'll be 3.5 grams. If it is a 2-ply, which is a little more plump, it'll be closer to 4 grams, but that's still nothing. That is nothing. So each of my little 10-gram minis, my row 1 minis, gets me like 3 squares, which is so awesome. That's the best. I have leftovers in here, leftover yarn from other sock projects in here. I am starting each square with a chain 4 instead of a magic loop. My magic loops have proven to not be so magical. They keep unraveling, and I hate that. So I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just doing a chain 4, slip stitching through the first chain and going from there. And I think it feels a little bit more secure to me. Yeah, and I have been loving this project. It's so simple. I think after working on a DK weight blanket, this fingering weight drape is giving me life. I'm planning to use this as a blanket for Sam to use on her twin-sized bed. I think the 12 by 20 square dimension is going to be perfect for her to use on her little bed. I'm already picturing it right now and it gives me so much life. I'm so happy about it. I think she's gonna love it a lot. Now, what we're not gonna talk about are the ends in the back. Maybe we will. Because I'm using one color for each square, the ends look like a lot, but it's actually not a lot. I have this center tail that I need to weave in, which I will weave in. Like, yes, I am crocheting over the end while I'm doing that first round of granny clusters, but I still want to secure it just a little bit more. So I am going to go back once I'm done with the blanket and just take 30 minutes to an hour to just weave the center ends in. The outside end, right? So this tail here at the very end of my crocheting, what I'm doing is I'm just crocheting over them while I do a continuous join as you go order. So you basically do like a zigzagging type thing. You're doing like yeah, it's amazing. I first learned about it several years ago, and I thought it was the most brilliant thing. I thought, why does anybody join granny squares any other way? Especially if you like this look, right? So that's what I'm doing. It's a continuous join as you go method. And if I find a YouTube tutorial that shows exactly how I do it, I will link it. But I have to confess that the way I learned how to do it was through a Pinterest post, like a random Pinterest post. And there was a diagram showing where to start and where your crochet border should go, how you would connect them together. And I used slip stitches in between each granny cluster to join my square to the adjacent square. So yes, maybe that's helpful, maybe it's not, but I will see if there is a YouTube video out there that can demonstrate that visually for you. Let's see. Okay, so that's this blanket. And after I was working on this blanket, or as I was working on this blanket, I again had an idea to do more granny square in fingering weight, right? A fingering weight granny square blanket because I was enjoying this so much. I wanted to knit another one. And I thought, oh, I know, I have this advent that has been sitting in my yarn shelf for the last year because I just couldn't seem to find the project that I wanted to use it for. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I have there's this desire that I have to keep all of my Advent minis and the colors together. I want to use it in a project. And even if I split them up, like last year, I think I did an Advent project where I took the 24 minis and I used 8 of them for one sock, 8 of them for another sock, et cetera, et cetera. I split them up into 3 pairs of socks. But I really wanted to use this Advent for one project, namely a blanket. But I couldn't find any projects that I felt drawn to. There's a lot of Advent projects out there, and especially Advent blankets, but I don't know. None of them are really calling to me. But as I was working on this fingering weight blanket, I thought, aha, I really want to make a blanket like this using my Advent from last year. It is a Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2 Advent. It was the last installment of the Harry Potter Advents that Yarn Cafe Creation and Dragon Horde Yarns did together. And I hadn't gotten any of their Advents previously, but because it was the very last installment, I thought, yes, I really want to grab one, and I did, and it's just been sitting in my shelf because I felt so precious about it. And usually I would say, oh, I hate that. Like, just use it. If it's beautiful yarn, just use it. But for whatever reason, this Advent, I couldn't do that. I couldn't bring myself to do it. And I'm kind of glad I waited because I think the project that I came up with is perfect for it. So before I show you the blanket, this is where I was keeping the Advents. It's like a little scrapbooking container thing. And I had strung my Advents together in like a little, I had strung them up and hung them on my wall because I wanted to look at the beautiful yarn, even if I didn't know what to do with the beautiful yarn. And you can kind of already see how much of it I've already used, but it's a moody color palette. It's dark, like the story, but there's a lot of gem tones, like jewel tones in there. And the main color that I got was based on the house that you're a part of, like the Harry Potter house that you're a part of. And I am a Hufflepuff. And so I have orangey color as the main color. And this is the main color that I'm using. It's so pretty. It reminds me of autumn leaves, actually. And it's perfect because as it is November and there's beautiful foliage, not really in California, but you know, I can imagine it in other parts of the world, of the Northern Hemisphere anyway. It's been really pretty to work with. And the decision that I made is that I wanted to do a granny square blanket where I can sort of attach the squares to the blanket as I was finishing the squares, but I didn't want to do a traditional granny motif. Could you call it a motif? Where it's like a solid with a border around it, a main color border. I wanted to do a little spin-off of that. And what I thought I would do is use the main color instead of using it as the outside of the square, to use the main color on the inside of the square. And I did some math, and since each of these little squares is about 3.5 to 4 grams, I figured that I can use my main color, my 100-gram main color, to be the inside of all 24 squares, but then I have 24 different colors throughout the blanket. I'm so glad I did. And once I started, I couldn't stop. Here is what it's looking like so far. Are you ready? Da 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 da! Here she is. So as you can see, I have the orange main color in the center, and I have each mini. I just worked, I think this was the first color that I used, and I just kept going in the granny square until I ran out of yarn to see how many rounds I could get from a 20-gram mini. And what I found is that I could get 8 rounds total after a 5-round granny square, so rounds 6 to 13 I can get from a 20-gram mini. And that's what I've been doing. I've been joining as I go, meaning as I finish a square, I'm attaching it to the blanket. And again, the way that I'm doing that is with in between each granny cluster, I am doing a slip stitch to the corresponding space between granny clusters in the adjacent square. And that is secure enough. I will show you. I don't know if it'll zoom in or focus enough so that you can see what that join looks like, but it's pretty clean and I'm satisfied with it. I'm happy with it. Yeah, I started this maybe a week and a half ago and I can't stop. Maybe not even a week and a half. Maybe it was like 9 days ago that I started this blanket, and I just can't seem to put it down. And if you think about it, once I finish this square here, oh, these are here. I'm working on the square that's going to go in that space. And this actually has the least amount of contrast. I don't know if the camera's going to pick up that it is, in fact, a different color. Is it going to focus? There we go. So it's only slightly different from the main color in the center, but whatever, I don't care. It's a little more pink than orange, but I don't care. But once I finish this and put it here, that's half of the advent. That is half of the blanket already. And it's only been maybe 9 days. So I absolutely think that this is a doable advent project. Now, of course, this requires that whatever 100-gram skein you have, you open it in the very, very beginning because you will be using that for every single square. But if you're kind of a rebel like me, and sometimes I will open the entire advent as soon as I get it, because I have no chill and I want to look at it for as long as possible, maybe it won't bother you so much and you will be able to use the 100 gram skein that you're supposed to open on Christmas Day from the very beginning and kind of see how it matches and pairs with all 24 minis of the Advent. I personally love that. And I'm a bit of a rebel, like I said, so I really don't care about going in order. Speaking of going in order, I'm not. So I have been, like, I strung it up in order, but I've been pulling maybe like 4 to 6 colors at a time and winding it up, because winding up those minis is the least favorite part of any project. Winding up yarn is, if I had a magic wand and I could have a wish from a knitting genie to always have my yarn caked up in a beautiful cake that have no knots in it, whenever it is that I am ready to start a project, I think that would be my wish. Winding up yarn sucks. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate winding up yarn. So yes, I've been doing it 4 to 6 at a time so that I can just get it done and over with. And I've been putting the colors in that way, just whatever I pull, as long as it's not too close to the color next to it. But yeah, last thing I'll say about this is that I wasn't going to do a border initially. I thought, hey, I'm going to be true to the Advent and just keep the Advent colors in here. I don't think I want to do a border, because then I'll have to supplement the Advent with other yarns in my stash. But I'm looking at the size of this, and I think I will really just be happier if I have a bit of a border. Not to mention that I think I already know what yarn I want to use for the border. I have some more Sorella yarn. Oh, it's going to crinkle. Just 1 second. I have some more Sorella yarn that has been in my stash for a while, and I don't think I'm going to be using this for socks, because even though the base is called Classic Sock, there is no nylon in this yarn. And I have 3 of these skeins. It is called The Met by Sorella. It's when she had her collaboration with 2 of 1s. And it's a beautiful, variegated, almost semi-tonal actually. It looks very gray. Yeah, it's more gray, and it kind of reminds me of marbling. I wonder if that's, I'm trying to remember the photo that Ashley had used with this colorway, but it was, I don't know, it just reminds me of like granite and like limestone, maybe just some like stony architecture type color. And I think this would look so good as the border for this blanket. I'm convinced that this will be a very nice neutral to balance out and frame like the very moody, jewel toned color palette of this blanket. I also want to do a pretty thick border for this blanket. I love the ratio actually of the 5 rounds in the middle and the essentially 8 rounds around it. I love that ratio, and it kind of makes me want to do 5 rounds of additional granny clusters on the border of this blanket using this color. I have 3 of these. I have 300 grams of this yarn, which is what, 1,200 yards of this yarn. And so I have plenty, and I don't have a project in mind to use for this anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. I think it's going to block out beautifully. I think it'll be a great lap blanket. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. Okay, so that's that. And believe it or not, I actually have one more blanket that I've been working on that I am dying to share with you. Let me put this away so that there is some semblance of order. Okay, I'm just gonna go about here. The last blanket that I have, and this is also the last project that I have to share with you today, is my KISS blanket. It's my KISS, or Keep It Simple Stripes blanket. And this is a pattern by, her handle is Crochet Objet. She is a wonderful vlogger here on YouTube, and yes, she's just this very gentle spirit, and I really adore her work. And I wanted to do, it's the stripy blanket that I had shared with you guys maybe a month and a half ago. And let me show you where I was the last time I recorded. I had this much done. So you see my little thing right here? That's how much I had done, just this. Now, I have this much done. Oh, my camera is tripping out. They're like, what am I doing? I'm so dizzy. Let me get closer. The colors are looking terrible. What if I move back here? Oh, that's better. There we go. So there's a very low contrast here. It is a red with like a maroon burgundy color here. And then what I'm doing is I am overlapping the colors so that this burgundy color continues on while I'm introducing the mustard colorway here. And then I dropped the burgundy and continued with the mustard to include the navy here. And then I dropped the mustard and continued with the navy and picked up like a light blue, icy blue color here. Now it is, if you'll notice, it is different length on this side as it is on this side. And I will explain to you why that is. I wanted to know, so I'm making this in garter stitch, and I wanted to have like a truer sense of how big this blanket was going to be, because I couldn't tell if I needed to add more colors. Because this is a garter stitch blanket, I knew that it was actually going to be longer than it seems when I'm knitting it up, because garter as a fabric is essentially like an accordion. So when it's resting, this is what it is, but it stretches like this. And because of the weight of this blanket, I knew it was going to stretch. I wanted to find a truer gauge or a truer idea of how this blanket was going to be once it was blocked. It is a 100% acrylic yarn, by the way, that I'm using. I'm not using any wool for this. And so my plan at the end of finishing this blanket is to throw it in the washing machine and to wash it on hot so that it can kind of like really loosen up, get in there, get clean. And then I'm planning to throw it in the dryer with a dryer sheet. And I found that that really softens up the acrylic yarns that I've used historically. So that's my plan. And I know when I do that, this blanket is going to change in dimension quite a bit. So I steamed block it. I steamed blocked a section, and I'm considering a section to be like one pairing of colors. So even though there's burgundy down here as well as up here with the mustard, I'm considering this and this to be one section because that's like a set of colors. There's going to be 7 sections total. And before I steamed blocked this here, it looks like this. Each section was about 7 inches. After I steam blocked, the section grew to 10 inches. So given that I'm going to have 7 sections, that's what? The difference is 3 inches times 7 sections. That's 21 inches of difference. And I'm so glad that I figured that out and I did the math for that, because otherwise I would have ended up with unnecessary knitting and just this ginormous blanket that is really weird in terms of like the dimensions. So I am very excited about this blanket. It is so fun to knit. I know in the past I've shared that I don't like working blankets with the full width of the blanket and going back and forth, back and forth. It bores me. It usually makes me very tired. I feel like it doesn't grow quickly enough. The only way I will do that is if it's crochet and if I can introduce new colors in there. But this has proven to be so engaging, as you can see, because I mean, look at how much I got done. It has proven to be so engaging because I switch colors or I change colors every 2 rounds. So essentially I go back and forth and then I pick up the other color. Back and forth, I pick up the other color. And I only do that 15 times. So there's something to always look forward to. I'm counting down like how many stripes I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, I can just do 1 pass. I can go back and forth. Yeah, that's easy. Oh, I can do 1 more. Oh, that's easy. Oh, now I have 6 stripes instead of 5. Oh, that's really close to the 15 that I need. It just has been consistently engaging and stimulating in my brain that I'm able to work on this for an hour, 2 hours at a time. And I can see my progress, which I think is the most important thing for my brain to want to continue engaging with a project. So on the side, I will show you, this is what my edge looks like. It's pretty neat. This is one edge. I slip that first stitch. This is the other edge. This is the one that has the tails, but I still think it's pretty neat and clean. And for each section here, I do 15 stripes of the color. So in this one with the blue and the yellow, I have 15 of the blue before I introduce the lighter blue. And it's been so engaging. It's been so fun. The blanket's color palette now is moving towards cooler colors. I'm looking around for my basket that has the next colors in here. But it started off with like warmer colors and now it's transitioning to cooler colors. The next color I'm introducing is going to be like a cool gray. And then after the gray will be black. And the very last section will be black and the red that's in this section here. So yeah, I love it. It's so much fun. I am loving this. This is going to be a Christmas gift. So I am feeling a little bit more pressure now because December is around the corner. But I am hopeful. I'm pretty hopeful that I'm going to be able to get this blanket done. Look at this like cute cinnamon roll. Oh my God. And it's so squishy. Ah! Ah! I love it. Okay. That is the last WIP, that is the last project that I have to share with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I am so thankful for you. And if you want to bounce, I'm about to show some yarn acquisitions. If you don't want to stay for that, that is totally fine. Thank you for being here. I hope you have a great rest of the day and a great rest of the week. And if you celebrate Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving to you. If you are here for the acquisitions, let's get to it. So the biggest package that I got in the mail was my Knit Picks Fully Chi order. So Knit Picks came out with a new line of colors for fall 2025, and I could not resist. I went ahead and purchased some of them. I did not get all the colorways, but I did get quite a bit. And I got 2 of each colorway because they are 50-gram balls. Here is my bag. I'll just show it to you like this so you can see. There's 4 colors in here. I think they're so fun. And especially when summer rolls around, I think it'll be fun to work up these colors. Also included in this was this colorway here. I have 2 of these. And this colorway here, which is the Alphaba colorway, I think, from Wicked. And funny story. So I received all of my yarn in a box, and I noticed that some of the packaging was seared onto the box, like as if it was burned. And when I opened up my package, whoops, I saw that one of the balls, in fact, did have some singeing. I don't know if you can see that, but there's extra tails in here. Like, what is that? What are these? And when I looked at it, I could tell that it had been burned off. What I could not tell was how far into the ball this yarn had been burned. And so I emailed Knit Picks and I told them of my predicament. And I said, hey, is there any way that I could get this yarn replaced? I can send this back to you if you would like to do an exchange. I can show you pictures, but I think my yarn is damaged, like it came to me damaged. What can we do? And they very graciously sent me another ball. So that was really nice of them. And it came pretty quickly. So now I have 2 and potentially a half. I don't know how much of this ball is there. I could always just like magic knot it, I guess, and it'll be fine. But all that to say, I was very thankful for Knit Picks and their generosity or the speed at which they resolved my problem. So yeah, those are all of my Felici yarns that came in. Yes, I also received, I had to pause for a second because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much yarn. But anyway, I also received my subscription yarns, and it is way late in November, so I have no qualms about sharing this now. But I got my Yarnable color, which I think is so pretty. This is the November colorway called Wild Current. It's so cute. I have really been enjoying my Yarnable subscription, I have to say. I've been enjoying it a lot. They're not always open for new subscribers, but you can go to their website and sign up on their email list. I think that's what I did. And when I saw that there was an opening, I got an email, and that's how I ended up signing up. The base is the plush sock base, is a 85-15 superwash merino nylon blend, but it is a 4-ply, which is what makes it so scrumptious and easy to work with. I don't like 2-ply yarns. I can crochet with 2-ply yarns, but I don't like knitting socks in 2-ply yarns, so this is perfect. I also got my Patreon yarn from a homespun house. I think because of the tariffs and everything, it really took a long time for my October yarn to get to me. So the yarn that I have actually might be my September yarn because their yarn ships at the end of the month. So I subscribed in August and I received in mid October-ish, late October, my September yarn. So I'm like a month behind. Yeah, this is my September yarn. But this is a sock set. I got a 50 gram and a 20 grams. It's a 70 gram sock set with 3 10-gram minis. And these are so cute. I really love Molly's dyeing techniques. The speckling is really even. I feel like it knits up very beautifully with very little pooling. And so when I found a dyer that could do that, I'm like, okay, I just want all of their speckled yarn. I also got in the mail the 4 Sundays of Advent yarn from a homespun house, but obviously I haven't opened any of them, so there's really nothing to show except for a package that has my personal address on there, so I'm not going to show you that. But these are my Patreon yarns that came through, and I'm very excited to use them. I have a feeling that I'm just going to add these into my granny square blanket, and this I'll probably make socks out of for me. Okay, And then yesterday was the SoCal Fiber Festival. Well, no, it's yesterday and today, but today I am not there. So for me, it was yesterday that I went to the SoCal Fiber Festival. I love that festival. I did not get that many things this year, or at least I only got 2 skeins of yarn and I got 2 baskets. I have been waiting and waiting and waiting for the festival so that I can get more baskets. This is a basket I got last year and I love it so much. I use it all the time, and I made a promise to myself at that time when I got it last year, Eunice, you have to use this basket. And if you do not use this basket, then you cannot justify getting a bigger basket. So just get a small basket and see what happens. Well, I got the small basket. Turns out that I use it a lot. Turns out I love the way it looks in my living room. And so I allowed myself to get a big basket and another small basket. Let me show it to you now. Here's the small basket that I got. Ah, she's so cute. I love it. So these I had to introduce to one another. Like, oh, here's your basket, sibling. The small one. She's funky and fun, and I love her colors. And then here's the big one. Ta-da! It's my big basket. And this is where I'm probably going to put my blankets. I actually ran into Alice of, oh my gosh, I just know her as Alice. But she is a crocheter that I met through Instagram many, many years ago when we were testing like crochet garments. And she messaged me to say that she was going to be at the SoCal Fiber Fair. And so we got to meet up briefly, and I had my obnoxious baskets with me. And I was telling her, like, yeah, do I need more baskets? No, not really. But she was like, well, but you have your blankets. I said, yes. Yes, I do. And I will put my I put my blanket in this basket, and it will live here and be happy and so loved. So I do plan on putting my blankets in here because look how sad this is. I am currently putting my little crocheted blanket in like an Easter basket that I stole from my 5-year-old last year. That's messed up, right? So I can now return Sam's Easter basket to her because Alma's got a new basket that's way prettier in my eyes anyway. She's not going to want this basket. She'll want this basket back. And then, like I said, I've been using my like Trader Joe's reusable grocery bags, like my grocery totes, to house my blankets because I don't have very, very big project bags. And yeah, I don't know. The idea of a basket is more appealing to me. So yes, I got this at the fair and this at the fair. So beautiful. I'm so happy with my choices. And then I got 2 skeins of yarn. I have always wanted to try Ruby and Rose's yarn, but because her base was an 8515 base and I wasn't sure if it was 2-ply or 4-ply, I didn't really ever pull the trigger. Because Lisa of 72 Stitches or Knit All the Yarn podcast adores Ruby and Roses, I think she should be an ambassador for Ruby and Roses because I'm pretty sure if Ruby and Roses has a colorway out, Lisa has it. But because she uses it, I had a feeling it was 4-ply. But I don't know. Like I already have so much yarn that I just never really got around to getting any. But at the fair yesterday, one of the booths had Ruby and Rose's yarn. And so that one. This one's called Early Riser and her soft rose base. Oh my gosh, it is so pretty and speckly and beautiful. And since I follow Lisa, of course I had to smell it because I was like, what is the smell that she's talking about all the time? And yeah, I have to agree with you, Lisa. It smells good and I don't know how to describe it. So I guess you guys are just going to have to buy her yarn to find out what this intoxicating smell is because I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, but it does smell quite nice. So this is one of the yarns that I got as a souvenir for myself. And then the other yarn that I got, I caked up already to start a sock because I couldn't wait. It is from Gems Luxe Fibers. And I have gotten something from them every year that I went. I think the first year that I went, I got a mini set. The second year that I went, I got another mini set. No, that's not true. The first year I went, I just went and adored her yarns. And the second year I went and got a mini set because I couldn't get her yarns out of my mind. This year I went and I got a 100-gram skein. It is called The Underworld. And it is a 75-25 base. There we go. It's a 4-ply base. And it is beautiful. It is so pretty. Let me show you. I cast on yesterday. This is the main color. It looks like this. Is there a hair? Ugh, I am shit. Long hair is great, but like I shed like a mofo. Okay. Look at that color. I love it so much. I love how evenly speckled it is. I love the deep, what is that? It's like a deep blue, deep gray, deep bluish gray with these specks of teal and burgundy and some bright greens, but like so subtle, right? It is so beautiful. I love it. And it is being paired with this speckled bright yellow color from Buku. I think it's called Ochre. No, it's not. I don't know. Amanda, what is this color? Mr. Brightside? Nope. I don't know. I should know, but I bought it so long ago that I cannot remember. But I'm pairing these two colors together. And I've already cast on the first sock. And here is what it looks like. Oh, yeah. It is so pretty. It's going to be such a pretty sock. I already know. I did 3 rounds of the pop of color for the cuff. It's a 20 round 2x2 ribbing. And I just already know it's going to be gorgeous. And I'm so excited about it. Yeah. Woo, this is going to be good. I did cast the second sock on with the pop of color so that, whenever it is that I feel like doing a cuff, right now I really don't want to do the cuff. I just want to knit stockinette, but I have it cast on so that I can start it whenever I feel like it. But yeah, that's that. That's all the yarn and baskets that I got from the Fiber Festival yesterday. I think that's pretty good. I was looking for a mini set to also purchase because I wanted to get more minis, but I didn't see anything that really called out to me. And so I didn't get it. Oh, I was so proud of myself. Yeah. And I'm really thankful because I have a lot of yarn to work with already. And I love doing scrappy projects anyway. So I already know that both of these skeins will afford me a pair of socks, but also like lots of beautiful scraps for me to add to my blankets. And I don't know, I think that the more I use my yarn, the more I realize how long it goes, like the mileage I can get from one 100-gram skein is becoming more and more apparent to me. And so I feel excited about using the yarn that I have. I think going into 2026, it'll be really fun to just use up my scraps, to use up the yarn that I have, to be thankful for it. I still am subscribed to Yarnable and a Homespun House. So, it's not like I don't have new yarns coming in each month, but I feel really satisfied with being able to work with the beloved colorways that I already own. So anyway, I hope that you are doing well. It is over an hour. I knew this was going to be a long one, and I was really hoping not to go over an hour, but here we are. thank you for hanging in there with me if you made it this far. And yeah, I'm hoping to record again in a couple of weeks. And yeah, let's let's see how much I get up to by that point. Please leave a comment below and let me know what you're working on, what you have been thankful for. Once again, if you're celebrating Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving to you. I am very thankful for you in this community. So please know that someone is thankful for you this week. Okay, I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Baby,